Hey guys, today I'm going to be sharing my thoughts, opinions, and feels on City of Heavenly Fire, the final book in the Mortal Instruments series. I can't believe I've finally reached this point. I can't believe that I finally have finished this series. This has been a long time coming. I started reading this series in 2014, and it is now 2016, and I finally completed this series, and I just can't believe it's over. I also can't believe it took me a million years to read this series. But let's not talk about that. I'm already kind of getting a little bit emotional because I'm so sad to see these characters go. But the good thing about Cassandra Clare's books is that these characters are not going to just disappear. We're totally going to see these characters in some of her other books. I'm sure that we'll see these characters again, but at the same time, this is the end of the journey for these characters. Their series is complete, their story has been told, so it is really bittersweet. I'm just going to give you some general non-spoilery thoughts right now, and then I'm going to be jumping into a spoilery section because there's quite a bit to talk about with this final book. This book was definitely not my favorite in this series. It still was really great, and I loved the last like 200 pages or so of this book, but it took forever to get to that really good chunk. But by the end of it, I really appreciated this book as a whole. The ending of this book just made my heart so happy. It also crushed my heart into a million pieces. I just think in the middle of the book, I started to lose interest in the story, and that was not a good sign. But like I said, after I got over that middle section and I got towards the end, things just started to get so much better. I had also been spoiled for a major thing that happens within this book at a recent Cassandra Clare event, which I'll tell you later what that was that I was spoiled for, but I think that that might have taken away a little bit of my enjoyment of this book because I was just kind of going into this book anticipating for this certain thing to happen. But overall, I did really enjoy this finale, and I am very satisfied with how everything kind of came to a close. So those are all my non-spoilery thoughts. Sorry that I don't have too many non-spoilery thoughts. There's just so many spoilery thoughts that I have, and I really want to get to that spoilery section. So if you have not read City of Heavenly Fire, you should go read it and then come back and talk with me about this book. If you have read City of Heavenly Fire, let's talk about this big old dang book. Alright, fellow shadow hunters, it is spoiler time! Let's discuss City of Heavenly Fire. Before I dive in, I'll admit that I was terrible at taking notes while reading this book, so there might be things that I don't talk about within this video, and that's because I was terrible at taking notes while reading this book. So we opened up this book and we're at the LA Institute, which was actually really cool, and I really enjoyed getting Emma's perspective in this book as well as Jules, and it just got me overly excited for Lady Midnight. I can't wait to read that book. The LA Institute just sounds so beautiful, and I can't wait to explore it more, especially without all the dark shadow hunters invading it. So we've got Sebastian at the LA Institute, and he's causing chaos as he does. We've got Jules and Emma and all those other shadow hunter kids, which I have no desire to list right now, and they're all jumping through that portal. We learned that Emma's parents have been brutally murdered, which was just so devastating, and I felt so bad for Emma, especially because she's just so young, and to lose your parents at that age, I just can't even imagine that feeling. We learned that Sebastian has been attacking all these different institutes, and he's been turning shadow hunters into dark shadow hunters. We have this really interesting scene at the beginning with Magnus and Alec, and they have a little kissy time. But then Magnus is like, yo, Alec, you're great, but we just can't be together. Which was kind of aggravating because, hey yo, you just had some kissy times with Alec, and you have the audacity to be like, this ain't gonna work. Way to make your relationship even more complicated, Magnus. So the New York Shadowhunter squad are heading to Alicante to have a meeting to discuss what to do about this Sebastian issue. And we get this great Sizzy scene before Isabel heads off to Alicante. Isabel gives Simon her ruby pendant. Just don't date anyone else while I'm gone, okay? He stared after her. Does that mean we're dating? My heart, my feels. Sizzy is my addiction, and I just can't get enough of it. I felt so bad for the Los Angeles Institute kids who had survived the attack, and the way that they were treated by the Clave and how they confronted the whole thing, it was just so awful. They literally just survived an attack from Sebastian, and now they're having to recall how it all went down. And I totally get that that's the only way to get information and to like learn how to kind of take down Sebastian and what his angle is. But in that moment, it just felt so wrong. I love that scene we get with Clary running after Emma had just had enough with the Clave, and Clary kind of comforts her and like calms her down. And we find out that Emma is this huge J-Span girl, which just made me laugh so hard. What was up with the whole DTR thing throughout this book? It drove me nuts. I was like, can we not with the DTR? Like, nobody uses DTR, and we're not gonna make that a thing, so please stop saying that. So we've got Simon with Maya and Jordan. He opens the door, and it's a dark shadow hunter trying to take him out. And of course, Simon gets taken because these dark shadow hunters are harder, better, faster, stronger, like that Kanye West song. Anybody? We have this steamy love scene between Jace and Clary. There was a lot of steamy love scenes in this book. Oh, Jace. Oh, Clary. Mwah, mwah. Kiss, kiss. And Jace is kind of resisting the whole time they're having this little makeout session. And then we find out why when he lifts his hands and he's left this mark on the wall where he had been like resting his hands. Dang, things sure did get hot up in there. The relationship between the Seelie Queen and Sebastian creeped me out. It gave me the heebie-seelie-jeebies. Speaking of being creeped out, Maureen got even creepier in this book. She was already freaky, but she got a bit freakier. She's captured Simon and she's like trying to convince him that they're gonna be together forever. You'll fall in love, we're together now, and we'll rule, you and me. We will rule my kingdom now that I am queen, Maureen. What a flippin' terrifying monster Simon created. So Maya and Jordan are lured in to find all these dead werewolves, and what do you know, Sebastian pops up, pop goes the weasel, and he just so casually kills Jordan. Well, okay then. Cassandra Clare does this thing sometimes where she kills off characters and then she just completely switches perspectives, and I'm just like, can you not do that, please? That drives me loco when she does that. It really hurts. This whole time leading up to Jordan's death, Maya is like wanting to tell Jordan something, and the thing that I thought she was like wanting to tell him was that she was pregnant. I don't know why, but I was just like, oh, you know what? She's probably gonna be pregnant. They're gonna have little werewolf babies running around, but no, that ain't the case. She wants to break up with that boy. I was totally wrong. My bad. Raphael gets Simon and they go to Alicante. I found Jace's character to be really interesting in this book because he's kind of got this internal struggle going on where he kind of realizes that he enjoyed helping Sebastian and he doesn't think that he was really being manipulated that much. Like he just kind of felt like he was going along with it because he wanted to go along with it. And so he's kind of like questioning inside if he thinks he's evil or not, and I just found that really interesting. Clary and Jace go to Adamant Citadel. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. I could be terribly wrong, but it's the home of the Iron Sisters. And at this place, there's a full-on battle that breaks out. Aya! Yeah! 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 Man, if I was in that battle, I'd be taken out by now. I loved that moment when Simon sees Isabel in Alicante and he looks over at Raph. Salt my game and I'll stake you. I mean it. It was so sweet how Isabel embraced Simon. I feel like Simon just popped up at the perfect time because Isabel had just had that awful confrontation with her father. Simon and Izzy had this mushy gushy scene and I was dying at how dorky they were being. And boom! In walks Alec, making this hecka awkward. It actually brought me back to a certain couple that Magnus Bane walked in on in the Infernal Devices. We have this scene where Jace goes to see Brother Zachariah to make sure that he's okay, but he ain't Brother Zachariah no more! So we learned that when Brother Zachariah touched Jace with his ruined hand, that he absorbed the heavenly fire and it burned the darkness away in his blood, and he became who he was before he was a silent brother and just my feelings. I have a lot of them. God bless Jace for having that heavenly fire running throughout him. I really like that Brother Zachariah actually kind of changed Jace's perspective on the heavenly fire. I feel like Jace kind of felt like it was a burden, but then Brother Zachariah kind of opened his eyes to how it's not really necessarily a curse inside of him, but rather a weapon that he'd been entrusted with. I love how Cassandra Clare just kept avoiding revealing who Brother Zachariah was. Even at the end of this book, it's not even revealed who Brother Zachariah is, but she just kept like hardcore hinting at who he was. The Simon drunk scene made me laugh so hard, especially because in the last book we have the scene where Isabel is drunk, so it was just nice seeing Simon be drunk in this book. It's not like he got drunk on purpose, it's all Raphael's fault, but it was still just so hilarious. Isabel, he called again, let down your raven hair. So after Clary gets home from dealing with drunk Simon, her brother's just chilling on her bed, and he tries to convince her to join him cause he's going to win this thing. Jace shows up for the sibling party, and Sebastian stabs himself with the sword. I was a little confused by that. What you trying to prove here, bro? And then he does his little magic trick and disappears. I'm getting real tired of this magic trick, Sebastian. So Emma reveals to the Shadowhunter squad that Edom is a real place. So the squads up and they head off to the Seelie Court. I don't know why, but I was expecting Emma to just like pop up and be like, yo guys, I'm joining you on your field trip. I was really shocked that Alec killed Meliorn, but good for him. So the Seelie Queen agrees to take them to the demon realm, but of course she lets her buddy old pal Sebastian in on it. Can't ever trust that Seelie Queen. Then we have one of the greatest moments within this book, in my opinion. Like, I just loved kind of seeing what these Shadowhunters had visualized and like what some of their like deepest dreams were. It reminded me of that one Shadowhunters episode, except not, because they did it totally wrong. No surprise there though. Simon's this big rock star living in a penthouse in Manhattan. In Izzy's vision, Simon is throwing her this big surprise birthday party. Alex sees his father being proud of him and just like singing his praises. And he's also engaged to Magnus. And Jace is in his vision and is like revealing how he missed his opportunity with Alec. And I was dying so hard at that scene. Jace obviously lies and says that he didn't have a vision. But we have such like a twist in his mood that we know that he had a vision. He just doesn't want to reveal it. And later on we find out that his vision involved Jace and Sebastian ruling the world and like all of his friends being in a cage. I don't know why, but I died so hard visualizing Jace and Sebastian ruling and just having like Izzy, Simon, Alec, and Clare in this cage. I don't know why, but that picture to me is just so funny. I found the dynamic between Luke, Magnus, and Raphael really interesting. That was something that I really liked about this book, is that we see different characters together and interacting that we don't normally see together and interacting, and that was just something that I really enjoyed seeing within this book. And we learn little details like how Magnus had saved Raphael. I love how pissy Alec was getting because he was basically the fifth wheel in this book. We've got Jace and Clare over here having some intimate moments, and then we've got Isabel and Simon over here having some mushy gushy moments as well. And Alec is just so aggravated and it just made me laugh so hard. I love seeing Brother Zachariah helping Emma and company. It just made me so happy. It was so sad that Jules had to kill his father. To be fair, it was a totally different version of his father, but still that doesn't make it any less harder than it was. And I'm sure that that's something that's going to affect his whole life. So the squad joins up with Magnus and Luke, and Raphael has passed on. R.I.P. Raphael. And we've got the final showdown. Oh, and Jocelyn's there too. My bad. Who's going to be the one to slay Sebastian? I was so surprised when Clary took to the throne and just sat down. I was like, what you doing, Clary Berry? Oh! They all kneel to her and I was just like, did the pressure get to Ginger? And then her creepy brother's all like, kiss me like you love me. And I'm over here reading this like, and then bam! Just like that, Clary throws a plot twist and stabs her brother. We get a little Jonathan redemption, which I was not expecting at all. He apologizes and I was just not expecting that at all. So we finally find out who Magnus's father is, and he's this demon and he's awful. As if we didn't know that was going to be the case. I mean, he's a freaking demon. He's gonna be awful. And he's willing to free them from the demon realm, but he wants to keep Magnus in exchange to freeing them. But instead, freaking Simon steps up to the plate and my heart just shattered into a million pieces. Now this is the thing that I was spoiled for, but it didn't hurt any less. It still hurt a lot. And the demon takes all of Simon's memories, and he also takes my heart and he crushes it into a million pieces. I mean, we do see Simon later on and we find out that Magnus kind of has figured out a way to solve the memory problem. So it's gonna be okay. Simon's gonna get all his memories back, but still, my heart broke in that moment. I died when Simon reveals that his band's name is The Mortal Instruments. I was just like, shut the front door. My mind is blown. This is everything. Later on, we have this Clary and Simon reunion, which broke me in the best way. And then we have the Sizzy reunion, which broke me in an even better way. We've got Emma and Jules becoming parabatai, which is gonna cause problems. I'm more than sure of it in Lady Midnight and in that whole trilogy. But they just didn't want to be separated, which I can totally understand. We have Magnus and Alec talking about where they're gonna go from here. And I couldn't help but put my own little spin on this scene. I want to know more about your life. I feel like I hardly know you. And I get that. That's why Cassandra Clare came out with The Bane Chronicles, now available in stores. But you're in luck, Alec, because I know the author and I'm gonna give this to you. So go read it, then come back and we'll discuss where to go from there. Brother Zachariah and Tessa show up at the end and I was overwhelmed with feelings, you guys. So many feelings. Oh my gosh. And I literally died over the Clary and Tessa conversation. It just made my whole freaking life. So those are all my thoughts, opinions, and feels on City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare. You guys should let me know down below what your favorite moment was from this book, what scene broke you to pieces. Let me know down below. Also, if you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. I post videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so click subscribe if you want to be notified for when I post new videos. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye, chew. What am I trying to say? Way to make your relationship even more complicated, Alec. Not Alec, Magnus. Wait a minute. So Maya and Jordan are lured. Oh my gosh, why can't I say that word? I was really shocked that Alec killed